3,000 years later.
When worlds collide, you can run.
12 seconds
When
later.
worlds collide, you'll laugh so hard, you'll swear you died. When worlds collide, hold my hand, I'll be your guide. When worlds collide, buckle up for the tweeted ride and prepare to have your mind blown wide. When worlds collide, when worlds collide.
Meanwhile,
When worlds collide, it's a curious thing. Bet you never heard a robot and a caveman sing. In his metal chest are some working parts. How is that different from my beat in art?
later.
I'm from the future,
And I'm from the past.
but that don't mean this printer wasn't built to last.
It was made in a lab and I was born in a cave. So let me hear you howling for this inter-alien raid.
Buckle up for this. We did right.
Who can I?
When worlds collide. Buckle up for this. We did right.
Who can I?
You can run.
But no can I?
When worlds collide.
Later, in the void.
He's not here. No more SpongeBob. No more. I may finally have found a place where I can be all alone.
You can run.
But no can I?
When worlds collide.
Loser.
What follows is a brief
Hold my hand, I'll be your guide. When worlds collide. Hold my hand, I'll be your guide. When worlds collide. You can run.
But no can I?
When worlds collide.
Don't worry, buddy. You're doing fine.
We are all obsolete.
Lately I felt broken and askew, but every day with you made me feel brand new.
Wait, I'm not obsolete. I still have a lot of
Lately I felt broken and askew. Take my hand, I'll repair and pull through. Lately I felt broken and askew, but every day with you made me feel brand new.
I am beginning to feel obsolete as
A
well.
robot's remedy,
What are you doing? What?
the love brought clarity.
I would not be able to carry on if I could not be useful.
A robot's remedy,
But I know how I would
just rather not spell it. I'll yell it
I'm ready to help them out.
over and over again.
One last time.
Disappointment does not spell defeat. I'll land on my feet. Disappointment does not spell defeat. I'll land on my feet. So I'm ready to help them now. One last time, rapid climb. I'm ready, so ask me how. One more time, it's showtime. It's lifetime, full time, meantime. One time turns into part-time, pastime, quick time. Clock goes fast. I'm out of time. In downtime, get up time. Better find my way home. My way home.
Are you prepared for your journey?
My way home. A robot's remedy. The love brought clarity. A robot's remedy.
I'm glad you're okay.
And so sought endlessly.
No one could ever replace you.
Lately I felt broken and askew, but every day with you made me feel brand new.
Jeez.
Lately I felt broken and askew. Take my hand, I'll repair and pull through. Lately I felt broken and askew, but every day with you made me feel brand new.
Tell them I'm sorry I couldn't fix everything or make their lives better, but every day with them made me feel brand new.
Join me for an adventure, oh, much like any other, with twists and turns and plot devices, words and wonder. Now my advice is listen close. What makes this story different is the teller and the told. This one's ours and it's waiting to unfold. So come be merry with me. Yeah. Oh, come be merry with me. Come on, be merry with me. Join me for an adventure, oh, much like any other, with twists and turns and plot devices, words and wonder. Now my advice is listen close. What makes this story different is the teller and the told. This one's ours and it's waiting to unfold. Hello, hello. Welcome. Hey, Ava. How you doing? I pray you're well. Welcome back to Merry Mitch. It's been a little while. Hey, what's up, B-dubs? Man, my My two favorite folks. How you doing? How am I? I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. You know, had a bit of an okay day. Was struggling a fair bit today. Just due to some mental exhaustion. I had an experience last night that was, it was something else. I don't know. It was very real. If that makes sense, you know. I'll give you, like, I won't give you the entire context or exactly what happened, but I'll let you know that, like, I was hanging out with friends and things were going smoothly. We were around a campfire, hanging out, making s'mores, shooting the breeze, you know. But then the conversation shifted into just a kind of conversation I haven't had in a long time. You know, dealing with some topics that I haven't thought about in a long time, and have specifically chose to avoid because they're hard for me. And so suddenly, like, I found myself, you know, I'm not crazy talkative like in social situations nowadays anyways, but I suddenly found myself just utterly silent. And that silence was loud. It was very apparent, you know, my shift in aura, if you will. And you know, nobody really said anything about it, but I found myself, like, just unsure of what to say and what to do. Which was very reminiscent of a feeling that I came across a lot in my childhood, especially with conversations with my mother, where I suddenly felt frozen, you know, feeling like I needed to escape, yet feeling unable to, and then trying to figure out why that urge to escape had flared up. So yeah, you know, by the end of it, I was feeling immensely vulnerable and frankly scared. And I don't know, I opened up about it, like, towards the end of the conversation, thankfully. You know, I finally found the courage within myself to speak my heart and say, hey guys, so here's what's going on with me. This is the reason I've been silent this whole time. and it was well received, you know. They understood because they're my friends. And yeah, so it was just a really real time, very real moment, and one that was challenging and uncomfortable. So, coming off from that, you know, today was primarily just a day of rest and recovery and process. Silence can be deafening, don't I know it? I know exactly how you feel and how bad it can feel, yeah. It was... It was something. I wouldn't have traded that night for anything else, though. Especially with how it wound up. Regardless, though, I wanted to be clear and, like, and upfront as to, you know, kind of how I've been doing today. But, you know, despite that, I'm still doing pretty okay, and I'm excited to get back into some reading, especially since we get to get back into The Lost Hero, which is just a comfortable book, you know, for me. It's a series that's been with me for a long time, and something that when when I reach out and grab a Rick Riordan book and crack it open, it brings a sense of familiarity, and comfort. So I'm excited and happy to be back. Thanks you guys for your patience yesterday too, because I not only was over there until like 2 a.m., but even if I hadn't have been with the proceedings of that night, I knew, once I had gotten into all that I was not going to stream that night. There was no way in heck. But yeah, I appreciate the patience. I know we've gone without Sci-Fi Sunday. I think it's been like every other week now instead of every weekend. So I hope that night hasn't been too terribly missed. I've been missing it because, I even prepped like a number of what seemed to be some really cool stories for it, but life happens, and sometimes we don't the plan doesn't go exactly as we think it will. Sci-Fi Sunday is a thing? Yeah, Ava, heck, I suppose you're new enough to the channel to not know. Yeah, so over the weekend on the Mary Mitch channel is all about themes and short stories. So on Friday, we normally do Fantasy Friday, where we get into like gallivanting tales of goblins and goons and creatures of myth and all sorts of cool stuff. On Saturday, it's the horror night. We say our merry prayers and jump into some frightening tales, some blood-curdling stuff. Oh shoot, that's probably a command that I should have locked and loaded, P-dubs, but I absolutely do not. Especially since the schedule that is currently, I think, below there, I have not been sticking, I haven't been sticking religiously to. Yeah. Which is mainly due to just, what I've been going through recently. But yeah, and then that leads into Sunday, which is normally Sci-Fi Sunday, where I go up to my space condo and I read you guys some tales of aliens and yeah, I don't know. Normally a lot to do with aliens, but also space travel and new planets and futuristic technology and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's a fun time. It absolutely is. It's it's much like any of the other nights on the weekend, but just with sci-fi stuff instead of horror or fantasy. Yeah. I'm hoping I can get back to it, next weekend, but we'll have to see. Have I read Dune? I was suggested that book by Giufondo, of all people. I think about a week ago. But I have never delved into the Dune series, sadly. Seems like one that I'd be rather into, but I have yet to check it out. He especially told me that the audiobook production of it is immensely well produced. With actual voice actors being brought in, like, to play the different roles, and an excellent narrator, and, a lot of extra work put in to, like, sound effects and music even, to lead it to really feel
story-esque and almost cinematic. I appreciate that you've kept the same ludicrous names for these people. I'm glad you appreciate it. Jafando was just... That was a name that as soon as I said it, there was no way in heck I would ever be able to forget it. If I'm being honest. It was one of those things where I said something that surprised me so much that it is stuck. It is absolutely stuck. And he will be forever Jafando whenever I refer to him. Yeah, I actually learned some new things about Jafando last night that I didn't expect to learn too. I think I just had him pegged, at least in a specific area. You know, I had him like pegged wrong in my mind. I had assumed something about him that wasn't true. Which was my own I don't know, my own deal. Late night bonfires are always interesting times. Yeah. No doubt about it. There's something very intimate about them, you know? Very, very classic. It's a, yeah, it's, I don't know. Yeah, dude, because, you know, whenever I think about campfires, like, I think about stories, or, like, ghost stories, but, to be honest, like, just going to a campfire with some friends, and just kind of having that be the central thing that, you know, you can pay attention to, which is the fire burning, and, like, helping it stay alight, and all the while having conversation around it, it can spur some interesting things. Oh, you're craving s'mores? Heck yeah. I had you know, one of the you know, another girl who came to the bonfire brought gluten-free graham crackers, cuz I was like, okay, I'll at least like get to eat some marshmallows, but I couldn't have the graham crackers or the chocolate. But she brought gluten-free graham crackers, so I was at least able to have like a pseudo s'more without the chocolate, but still with like the graham cracker. That same girl also called the s'more a graham cracker sandwich, which I think was one of my favorite things that came from that night. A graham cracker sandwich. Beautiful way to say it. I moved recently, so I need to find a new friend who can host bonfires. Heck yeah, dude. I agree. You know, I think it's a boon to any home if you can do that. I know, right? She's not wrong. And she seemed so embarrassed when she said it. She was like, oh my gosh, I just called this a graham cracker sandwich. But all of us were like, yo, that's the best way like I could have ever imagined saying s'more. without actually saying s'more, you know? And that's the thing. That's what like really shook me about that night, is that it started off like so lighthearted and with just kind of jokes and cool easy times with friends, to suddenly this crazy like in-depth conversation that I was not expecting. Heck yeah, I hope you guys get some s'mores soon. And remember, you can put them together, like at home, if you really want. Merry bonfire times. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. In fact, for a while, for the ambience, I had like a fire crackle for the main thing without the rain, but now I think it's like a combination. Mainly rain though. I was trying to listen to see if there was some fire crackle in this one, but I don't think there is. Hey, can you read one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish? That would be funny for some reason. It certainly could be. I've actually thought about that, you know, having a night where I read strictly kids books, maybe a lot of Dr. Seuss and stuff. I think that could be fun. I appreciate that recommendation. Tonight we're gonna be reading The Lost Hero, but I'll definitely keep that in mind. That could be nice. Maybe it can be seasonal? Oh, you mean the fire ambience? I do think it would be fun, like especially once it gets towards Christmas time. If I can have like some, I don't know, like some Christmas ambience. I don't know if I can emulate like the sound of snow or something, but not sure. Okay, have fun. Thanks, man. I don't know. I guess you don't want to stick around for The Lost Hero. That's certainly okay. Hopefully I see you whenever I decide to do the kids books? Question mark. And again, I do appreciate that suggestion. You know, I'm always looking for ways to improve the channel, or, you know, things I can do to bring in new audiences and all that stuff. Hey, I appreciate the follow. Thank you, Pig119. I appreciate that. I suppose it wouldn't be, I don't know. I'd have to find one fish, two fish. One of my other problems is I don't have that on hand. If you can find me like a PDF of it or something, I'd be cool with taking, like, you know, during the break or something, reading through that. Wouldn't be too long. That's for sure. You could probably get an ebook from the library. From the library. Are there online libraries? I almost said libraries. Libraries. Are there online libraries? Most libraries have an app or something. Nice. Oh. Hey, I appreciate it. Oh, was it? Shoot, I'm sorry. Was it just strictly a joke, or was it a legitimate request? And hey, you know, I appreciate you, trying to bring a smile to my face. You know, not every, we don't always get chat members that are looking to, that are looking to make me smile. So, heck, I really do appreciate that. Either way, I'd still watch the stream if you did one fish, two fish. Right on. Well, yeah, during the break, I'll see if I can find a means to bring it up. But for now, let's say we jump into our recap of last time on The Lost Hero. Some crazy stuff went down. Our heroes made it on the flying bronze dragon, Festus, all the way to Canada, Quebec in fact, and found themselves face to face with a couple of flying demigods, it would seem. This guy named Zethys, a French, a French kind of doofus, whose French accent was so thick it made them think it might not even be real. Oh, right on. I wish you the best of luck. And if I'm still on whenever you're done, let me know how it goes. See you later, pig. And his brother, Cal, almost a jock-esque character with like the most stereotypical like meathead type of personality, where it's as bad to the point of of him struggling to make more than 2-word sentences. So this duo of brothers stops them and says, "Oi, what are you doing here? You can't be here." And our heroes go, "Excuse me, we totally can. We're here to see Boreas." And they go, "Oh, wait a second, who's that guy? Is that Jason?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm Jason." And they're like, "Oh, so that's Jason, huh? Okay, yeah. You know, I think you actually might be the one we've been waiting for. Come on in." So they go on down. "Oh, what's up, Doug Dimmadome? Owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome?" Dude, every time I see you here, I'm both shocked and honored. You know, that Doug Dimmadome himself would come to my humble stream. I put a link from the archive.org in the Discord. The archive.org. Oh, snap. Yo. This actually is. Aw. Dude, this is fantastic. Alright, cool. Yeah, we can, as soon as we're done with the recap, let's read One Fish, Two Fish. Thank you, B-dubs. I've been blessed with the Dimmadome fortune. With Dimmadome fortune. Heck yeah. And golden beans. Dude, I am one lucky fish. I hope to one day be within a shower, a sea of golden beans. That's the dream. Alright, so the two brothers, the sons of Boreas, bring our heroes into Boreas's domain, which turns out to be like at the top of a lodging like place, like a kind of fancy hotel-esque place. But the spot where they drop into is hotel-esque, but it seems like everything has this fine layer of snow on it, you know, I'm trying to think of the word. I feel like there's a word for that, when there's just a thin layer of something. It's like a film of snow, you know? All over, you know, the walls, the carpet, everything and anything. And it is frigid cold. Frost! Frost! Thank you, P-dubs. Dude, I had lost the word frost. Avalanche? Now we're talking. There was a thin film of frost over everything, you know, in the building. Or at least in the room that they were in. This is where they meet Kione, who Leo immediately falls helplessly in love with. The daughter of Boreas and the goddess of snow, whose personality turns out to be as cold as the domain that she resides over. She tells them, "Hey, what's up? I'm Kione." Kind of gives Jason like the hungry eyes. Not even the I think you're cute eyes, but really the I want to keep you in a box like forever or something. Those kind of eyes. She gives them like the spiel of like, "Hey, you know, I'll take you to see my father, and I hope you I hope you survive it, but it's not likely," which really gives, you know, Jason and Piper a vote of confidence. Leo has to hang back because they don't trust the fireman to be amongst, you know, the North Wind god, which makes sense, you know. They probably don't like fire too much. However, this isn't explained to Jason or Piper, so they're kind of unclear as to why he has to hang back, but they're like, "Okay, all right, you know, we won't question it. You guys are in fact deities, so all good." They go and meet with Boreas. And something strange happens. You know, it seems like things aren't going too well. You know, they realize that, oh, Boreas is actually in cahoots with these, or is considering being in cahoots with this, you know, being that is, or this entity that is meant to awaken, ancient being that's meant to awaken, along with the giant, the unnamed giant. Oh wait, it has been named. Oh, I forget what the name was though. What do they call that goober? Big giant man. You guys remember? I wanted to say Prometheus, but I know for a fact that is not right. Anywho, so Boreas might be in cahoots with the main baddie in this story. So once they figure that out, they're like, "Oh no, that's bad, and we're probably not going to get any information out of this guy." But something strange happens when Boreas sees the tattoo on Jason's arm. The same tattoo that made the folks at Camp Half-Blood so uncomfortable. Something strange happens. Boreas transforms. Has a almost schizophrenic moment where he changes personality entirely, almost entirely, to where he went from a cold and depressing and kind of drab outlook and way of talking to a voice filled with mirth and almost a cold, not a cold indifference. That was what he used to be with Boreas, but is now filled with mirth and had an almost like manic or chaotic energy to him. And that's because Boreas had become, trying to remember the name. It's not coming right to me. Aquilon. Boreas had become Aquilon, his Roman counterpart. Unsure as to what this meant, our heroes at least didn't question it in the moment, because with this shift in personality, Aquilon decided that, hey, might as well help these two young demigods, because why not? He even says, I'll help you because you guys are just going to destroy each other anyways. He doesn't explain what that means, and it's a very ominous thing to say, but it still results in him deciding to help with their mission, their quest. So he's going to send them to I forget. Chicago. That's where they're going. So he's going to send them to Chicago so that they can hopefully capture these storm spirits, the Venti, and bring them to Aeolus, the god residing over all 4 cardinal directions of wind. Who in the past has not been very kind to demigods, but perhaps with this gift of storm spirits, he will hear them out. But we shall see. And they're meant to tell Aeolus that, hey, Boreas was the one who sent us, so that it'll raise Boreas' status, or Aquilon's status, amongst the 4 cardinal wind gods. And we ended the night with Piper and Jason and Leo having a brief discussion until it went further into Piper's thoughts about everything. Thinking about how we might actually find Coach Hedge. And since we know where Coach Hedge is now, she feels inclined to save him. She has this moment of recognizing that she desperately wants to do the right thing, but feels trapped by the obligation to the giant that is rising, that is holding her father captive. She gets a glimpse once again of this giant who says that she's forgetting her duty, that her focus is off. You know, he even makes a little bit of sense when he's talking about why Piper ought to betray her friends. You know, betray that foolish boy Valdez, who always irritated you and is hiding secrets even now. Give up the boy who you never really had. You know, are these two truly more important than your father? But she steps up and finally defies this giant and says, I will find a way to defeat you. I'm gonna save my friends and my father. So we'll see whether or not she actually can do that. And coming out of her dream, she's screaming because she was falling through the air. It appears that Piper has fallen off the dragon or something. I forgot that it left off on that big of a cliffhanger. So after one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, we'll get on into it. All right. So we're gonna jump on over to here and check it out. We got one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. So this is one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish by Dr. Seuss. One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, black fish, blue fish, old fish, new fish. This one has a little star. This one has a little car. Say, what a lot of fish there are. Yes, some are red, and some are blue. Some are old, and some are new. Some are sad, some are glad, and some are very, very bad. Why are they sad and glad and bad? I do not know. Go ask your dad. Some are thin, and some are fat. The fat one has a yellow hat. From there to here, from here to there, funny things are everywhere. Here are some who like to run. They run for fun in the hot, hot sun. Oh me, oh my, oh me, oh my, what a lot of funny things go by. Some have 2 feet and some have 4. Some have 6 feet, and some have more. Where do they come from? I can't say, but I bet they have come a long, long way. We see them come, we see them go. Some are fast, and some are slow. Some are high, and some are low. Not one of them is like another. Don't ask us why. Go ask your mother. Say, look at his fingers. 1, 2, 3. How many fingers do I see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He has 11. 11. This is something new. I wish I had 11 too. Bump, bump, bump. Did you ever ride a wump? We have a wump with just one hump. But we know a man called Mr. Grump. Mr. Grump has a 7-hump wump. So, if you like to go bump, bump, just jump on the hump of the wump of Grump. Who am I? My name is Ned. I do not like my little bed. This is no good. This is not right. My feet stick out of bed all night. And when I pull them in, oh dear, my head sticks out of bed up here. We like our bike. It is made for 3. Our Mike sits up in back, you see. We like our Mike, and this is why. Mike does all the work when the hills get high. Hello there, Ned. How do you do? Tell me, what is new? How are things in your little bed? What is new? Please tell me, Ned. I do not like this bed at all. A lot of things have come to call. A cow, a dog, a cat, a mouse. Oh, what a bed. Oh, what a house. Oh dear, I cannot hear. Will you please come over near? Will you please look in my ear? There must be something there, I fear. Say, look, a bird was in your ear, but he is out, so have no fear. Again your ear can hear, my dear. My hat is old, my teeth are gold. I have a bird I like to hold. My shoe is off, my foot is cold. My shoe is off, my foot is cold. I have a bird I like to hold. My hat is old, my teeth are gold. And now my story is all told. We took a look, we saw a nook. On his head he had a hook. On his hook he had a book. And on his book was how to cook. We saw him sit and try to cook. He took a look at the book on the hook. But a nook can't read, so a nook can't cook. So, what good to a nook is a hook cookbook? The moon was out, and we saw some sheep. We saw some sheep take a walk in their sleep. By the light of the moon, by the light of a star, they walked all night from near to far. I would never walk, I would take a car. I do not like this one so well. All he does is yell, yell, yell. I will not have this one about. When he comes in, I put him out. This one is quiet as a mouse. I like to have him in the house. At our house, we open cans. We have to open many cans. And that is why we have a Zans. A Zans for cans is very good. Have you a Zans for cans? You should. I like to box. How I like to box. So every day I box a gox. In yellow socks I box my gawks. I box in yellow gawks box socks. It is fun to sing, if you sing with a ying. My ying can sing like anything. I sing high, and my ying sings low. And we are not too bad, you know. This one, I think, is called a yink. He likes to wink. He likes to drink. He likes to drink and drink and drink. The thing he likes to drink is ink. The ink he likes to drink is pink. He likes to wink and drink pink ink. So, if you have a lot of ink, then you should get a yink, I think. Hop, hop, hop. I am a yop. All I like to do is hop from finger top to finger top. I hop from left to right, and then, hop, hop, I hop right back again. I like to hop all day and night, from right to left and left to right. Why do I like to hop, hop, hop? I do not know. Go ask your pop. Brush, 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 brush. Comb, 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 comb. Blue hair is fun to brush and comb. All girls who like to brush and comb should have a pet like this at home. So is this pet? Who is this pet? Say, he is wet. You never yet met a pet, I bet, as wet as they let this wet pet get. Did you ever fly a kite in bed? Did you ever walk with 10 cats on your head? Did you ever milk this kind of cow? Well, we can do it. We know how. If you never did, you should. These things are fun, and fun is good. Hello? Hello? Are you there? Hello? I called you up to say hello. I said hello. Can you hear me, Joe? Oh no, I cannot hear your call. I cannot hear your call at all. This is not good. And I know why. A mouse has cut the wire. Goodbye. This book is actually longer than I remember. From near to far, from here to there, funny things are everywhere. These yellow pets are called the Zeds. They have their hair up on their heads. Up on their heads, their hair grows fast. So fast they say, they need a haircut every day. Who am I? My name is Ish. On my hand, I have a dish. I have this dish to help me wish. Then I wish to make a wish. I wave my hand with a big swish swish. Then I say, I wish for a fish. And I get fish right on my dish. So, if you wish to wish a wish, you may swish for fish with my ish wish dish. At our house, we play out back. We play a game called Ring the Gack. Would you like to play this game? Come down. We have the only gack in town. Look what we found in the park, in the dark. We will take him home. We will name him Clark. We will live at our house. He will grow and grow. Will our mother like this? We don't know. And now, good night. It is time to sleep. So we will sleep with our pet Zeep. Today is gone. Today was fun. Tomorrow is another one. Every day, from here to there, funny things are everywhere. Aw. That was cute, yo. I think my favorite was the Gox. Oh no, I think one of my favorites was one of those like the after the big old so ellipses. What good to a nook is a hook cookbook. Beautiful. Is the yink? I forget where the yink was. Not the ying, right? Ah, this guy. Heck yeah. Oh shoot, sorry. I didn't see the full screen. My bad. I don't know. Didn't make that big of a difference. You just get the Internet Archive in the corner there. Well, that was fun. I think I might have missed you, but hey, Dad, how you doing? I'm glad you got to tune in for for the little Dr. Seuss segment. Had this book, the headboard bookshelf in my bedroom in the 1960s. Timeless book. No doubt about it. Oh, I'm so glad it made you happy. Honestly, it might be kind of fun to end the weekday streams with a Dr. Seuss book. You know, these are bedtime stories, and I mean, what makes for a better bedtime story than some Dr. Seuss? Well, we're getting into the actual chapters a little later than usual, but I think I'm alright with that. Yep. Alright, so, without further ado, this is The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan. This is The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan. 12. Piper. Piper tumbled through the sky. Far below, she saw city lights glimmering in the early dawn, and several hundred yards away, the body of the bronze dragon, spinning out of control, its wings limp, fire flickering in its mouth like a badly wired light bulb. A body shot past her, Leo screaming and frantically grabbing at the clouds. "Not cool!" She tried to call to him, but he was already too far below. Somewhere above her, Jason yelled, "Piper! Level out! Extend your arms and legs!" It was hard to control her fear, but she did what he said and regained some balance. She fell spread eagle like a skydiver, the wind underneath her like a solid block of ice. Then Jason was there, wrapping his arms around her waist. Thank God, Piper thought. But part of her also thought, great, second time this week he's hugged me, and both times it's because I'm plummeting to my death. "We have to get Leo!" she shouted. Their fall slowed as Jason controlled the winds, but they still lurched up and down like the winds didn't want to cooperate. "Gonna get rough," Jason warned. "Hold on." Piper locked her arms around him, and Jason shot toward the ground. Piper probably screamed, but the sound was ripped from her mouth. Her vision blurred. And then, thump, they slammed into another warm body. Leo, still wriggling and cursing. "Stop fighting," Jason said. "It's me." "My dragon!" Leo yelled. "You gotta save Festus!" Jason was already struggling to keep the three of them aloft. Piper knew there was no way he could help a 50-ton metal dragon. But before she could try to reason with Leo, she heard an explosion beneath them. A fireball rolled into the sky from behind a warehouse complex, and Leo sobbed. "Festus! Festus!" Jason's face reddened with strain as he tried to maintain an air cushion beneath them. But intermittent slowdowns were the best he could manage. Rather than free-falling, it felt like they were bouncing down a giant staircase, 100 feet at a time, which wasn't doing Piper's stomach any favors. As they wobbled and zigzagged, Piper could make out details of the factory complex below. Warehouses, smokestacks, barbed-wired fences, and parking lots lined with snow-covered vehicles. They were still high enough so that hitting the ground would flatten them into roadkill. Or skykill. When Jason groaned, I can't... And they dropped like stones. They hit the roof of the largest warehouse and crashed through into the darkness. Unfortunately, Piper tried to land on her feet. Her feet didn't like that. Pain flared in her left ankle as she crumpled against the cold metal surface. For a few seconds, she wasn't conscious of anything but pain. Pain so bad that her ears rang and her vision went red. Then she heard Jason's voice somewhere below, echoing through the building. "Piper! Where's Piper? Where's Piper?" "Ow! Bro!" Leo groaned. "That's my back! I'm not a sofa!" "Oh, Pipes! Pipes! Where'd you go?" "Piper!" Here, she managed, her voice a whimper. Oh, I guess it'd be more like, Here, here, she managed. There we go. Her voice a whimper. She heard shuffling and grunting, then feet pounding on metal steps. Her vision began to clear. She was on a metal catwalk that ringed the warehouse interior. Leo and Jason had landed on ground level and were now coming up the stairs towards her. She looked at her foot, and a wave of nausea swept over her. Her toes weren't supposed to point that way, were they? Oh, God. She forced herself to look away before she threw up. Focus on something else. Anything else. The hole they'd made in the roof was a ragged starburst 20 feet above. How they'd even survived that drop, she had no idea. Hanging from the ceiling, a few electric bulbs flickered dimly, but they didn't do much to light the enormous space. Next to Piper, the corrugated metal wall was emblazoned with a company logo, but it was almost completely spray-painted over with graffiti. Down in the shadowy warehouse, she could make out huge machines, robotic arms, half-finished trucks on an assembly line. The place looked like it had been abandoned for years. Jason and Leo reached her side. Leo started to ask, "You okay?" Then he saw her foot. "Oh, no! Oh, no! You're not! Oh! Thanks for the reassurance. Thanks for the reassurance," Piper groaned. "You'll be fine," Jason said, though Piper could hear the worry in his voice. "Leo, you got any first aid supplies?" Yeah, sure." He dug around in his tool belt and pulled out a wad of gauze and a roll of duct tape, both of which seemed too big for the belt's pockets. Piper had noticed the tool belt yesterday morning, but she hadn't thought to ask Leo about it. It didn't look like anything special, just one of those wrap-around leather aprons with a bunch of pockets, like a blacksmith or a carpenter might wear. And it seemed to be empty. How did you... Piper tried to sit up and winced. How did you pull that stuff from an empty belt? Magic, Leo said. Haven't figured it out completely, but I can summon just about any regular tool out of the pockets. Plus some other helpful stuff. He reached into another pocket and pulled out a little tin box. "Breath mint?" Jason snatched away the mints. "That's great, Leo. Now, can you fix her foot?" "I'm a mechanic, man. Maybe if she was a car..." He snapped his fingers. "Wait! What was that godly healing stuff they fed you at camp? Rambo food?" "Ambrosia, dummy," Piper said through gritted teeth. "There should be some in my bag. If it's not crushed." Jason carefully pulled her backpack off her shoulders. He rummaged through the supplies the Aphrodite kids had packed for her, and found a Ziploc full of smashed pastry squares like lemon bars. He broke off a piece and fed it to her. The taste was like nothing she expected. It reminded her of Dad's black bean soup from when she was a little girl. He used to feed it to her whenever she got sick. The memory relaxed her, though it made her sad. The pain in her ankle subsided. "More," she said. Jason frowned. "Piper, we shouldn't risk it. They said too much could burn you up. I think I should try to set your foot." Piper's stomach fluttered. "Have you ever done that before?" "Yeah, I think so." Leo found an old piece of wood and broke it in half for a splint. Then he got the gauze and duct tape ready. "Hold her leg still," Jason told him. Piper, this is going to hurt. When Jason set the foot, Piper flinched so hard she punched Leo in the arm, and he yelled almost as much as she did. When her vision cleared and she could breathe normally again, she found that her foot was pointed the right way, her ankle splinted with plywood, gauze, and duct tape. "Ow," she said. "Jeez, beauty queen? Jeez, beauty queen?" Leo rubbed his arm. "Glad my face wasn't there." Sorry, she said. "And don't call me beauty queen, or I'll punch you again." You both did great. Jason found a canteen in Piper's pack and gave her some water. After a few minutes, her stomach began to calm down. Once she wasn't screaming in pain, she could hear the wind howling outside. Snowflakes fluttered through the hole in the roof. And after their meeting with Keone, snow was the last thing Piper wanted to see. "What happened to the dragon?" she asked. "Where are we?" Leo's expression turned sullen. "I dunno. With Festus, he just jerked sideways like he hit an invisible wall and started to fall." Piper remembered. That's the name. Enceladus. Piper remembered Enceladus's warning. Do you think it's Enceladus or Enceladus? Enceladus? Frick, I don't know how to pronounce this. Enceladus. I'm gonna go with Enceladus. Enceladus' warning. "I'll show you how easily your rebellious spirit can be brought to Earth." Had he managed to strike them down from so far away? It seemed impossible. If he were that powerful, why would he need her to betray her friends when he could just kill them himself? And how could the giant be keeping an eye on her in a snowstorm thousands of miles away? Leo pointed to the logo on the wall. "As far as where we are?" It was hard to see through the graffiti, but Piper could make out a large red eye with the stenciled words, "Monocle Motors, Assembly Plant 1. "Closed car plant," Leo said. "I'm guessing we landed in Detroit." Piper had heard about closed car plants in Detroit, so that made sense. But it seemed like a pretty depressing place to land. "How far is that from Chicago?" Jason handed her the canteen. Maybe 3/4 of the way from Quebec. The thing is, without the dragon, we're stuck traveling over land. No way, Leo said. It isn't safe. Piper thought about the way the ground had pulled at her feet in the dream, and what King Boreas had said about the earth yielding up more horrors. He's right. Besides, I don't know if I can walk. And 3 people... Jason,
You can't fly that many across country by yourself.
No way, Jason said. Leo, are you sure the dragon didn't malfunction? I mean, Festus is old, and
I might not have to... And I might not have repaired him right? And I might not have repaired him right? And I might not have repaired him right.
I didn't say that, Jason protested. It's just... maybe you could fix it.
I don't know.
Leo sounded crestfallen. He pulled a few screws out of his pocket and started fiddling with them.
I have to find where he landed. If he's even in one piece. It was my fault. It was my fault,
Piper said without thinking. She just couldn't stand it anymore. The secret about her father was heating up inside her like too much ambrosia. If she kept lying to her friends, she felt like she'd burn to ashes. I agree, P-dubs. Piper, Jason said gently. You were asleep when Festus conked out. It couldn't be your fault.
Yeah, you're just shaken up,
Leo agreed. He didn't even try to make a joke on her expense.
You're in pain. Just rest.
She wanted to tell them everything, but the words stuck in her throat. They were both being so kind to her. Yet if Enceladus was watching her somehow, saying the wrong thing could get her father killed. Leo stood.
Look, Jason. Why don't you stay with her, bro? I'll scout around for Festus. I think he fell outside the warehouse somewhere. If I can find him, maybe I can figure out what happened and fix him.
It's too dangerous. It's too dangerous, Jason said. You shouldn't go by yourself.
I got duct tape and breath mints. I'll be fine.
Leo said a little too quickly, and Piper realized he was a lot more shaken up than he was letting on.
You guys just don't run off without me.
Leo reached into his magic tool belt, pulled out a flashlight, and headed down the stairs, leaving Piper and Jason alone. Jason gave her a smile, though he looked kind of nervous. It was the exact expression he'd had on his face after he'd kissed her the first time, up on the Wilderness School dorm roof. That cute little scar on his lip, curving into a crescent. The memory gave her a warm feeling. Then she remembered that the kiss had never really happened. You look better, Jason offered. Piper wasn't sure if he meant her foot, or the fact that she wasn't magically beautiful anymore. Oh. You look better. You look better. Her jeans were tattered from the fall through the roof. Her boots were splattered with melted, dirty snow. She didn't know what her face looked like, but probably horrible. What did it matter? She'd never cared about things like that before. She wondered if it was her stupid mother, the goddess of love, messing with her thoughts. If Piper started getting urges to read fashion magazines, she was going to have to find Aphrodite and smack her. She decided to focus on her ankle instead. As long as she didn't move, the pain wasn't bad.
You did a good job,
She told Jason.
Where'd you learn first aid?
He shrugged. Same answer as always. I don't know.
But you're starting to have some memories, aren't you? Like the prophecy in Latin back at camp. Or that memory about the wolf?
It's fuzzy, he said. Like deja vu. Ever forgotten a word or a name, and you know it should be on the tip of your tongue, but it isn't? It's like that. Only with my whole life. Piper sort of knew what he meant. The last 3 months, a life she thought she'd had, a relationship with Jason, had turned out to be missed. A boyfriend. A boyfriend you never had. A boyfriend you never really had. Oncladus had said, "Is that more important than your own father?" She should have kept her mouth shut, but she voiced the question that had been on her mind since yesterday.
That photo in your pocket,
She said.
is that someone from your past?
Jason pulled back.
I'm sorry,
She said.
none of my business. Forget it.
No. It's okay. His features relaxed. I'm trying to figure things out. Her name's Thalia. She's my sister. I don't remember any details. I'm not even sure how I know. But, why are you smiling? Why are you smiling?
Nothing. Nothing.
Piper tried to kill the smile. Not an old girlfriend. She felt ridiculously happy.
It's just... That's great you remembered. Annabeth told me she became a hunter of Artemis, right?
Jason nodded. I get the feeling I'm supposed to find her. Era left me that memory for a reason. It's got something to do with the quest. But I also have the feeling it could be dangerous. I'm not sure I want to find out the truth. Is that crazy?
No,
Piper said.
not at all.
She stared at the logo on the wall. Monocle Motors. The single red eye. Something about that logo bothered her. Maybe it was the idea Oncladus was watching her, holding her father for leverage. She had to save him. But how could she betray her friends?
Jason,
She said.
speaking of the truth, I need to tell you something. Something about my dad.
She didn't get the chance. Somewhere below, metal clanged against metal, like a door slamming shut. The sound echoed through the warehouse. Jason stood. He took out his coin and flipped it, snatching his golden sword out of the air. He peered over the railing. "Leo?" he called. No answer. He crouched next to Piper. "I don't like this," Could be in trouble, Piper said. Go check. I can't leave you alone. I'll be fine. She felt terrified, but she wasn't about to admit it. She drew her dagger, Catoptris, and tried to look confident. Anyone gets close, I'll skewer him. Jason hesitated. I'll leave you the pack, if I'm not back in 5 minutes. Panic? She suggested. He managed a smile. Glad you're back to normal. The makeup and the dress were a lot more intimidating than the dagger. Get going, Sparky, before I skewer you. Sparky? Sparky? Even offended, Jason looked hot. It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. Then he made his way to the stairs and disappeared into the dark. Piper counted her breaths, trying to gauge how much time had passed. She lost track at around 43. Then something in the warehouse went bang! The echo died. Piper's heart pounded, but she didn't call out. Her instincts told her it might not be a good idea. She stared at her splinted ankle. It's not like I can run. Then she looked up again at the Monocle Motors sign. A little voice in her head pestered her. Warning of danger. Something from Greek mythology. There was? Like where you're at, or was it back over by the window? Snap. Dude, the timing. Some good stuff. Her hand went to her backpack. She took out the ambrosia squares. Too much would burn her up, but would a little more fix her ankle? Boom! The sound was closer this time, directly below her. She dug out a whole square of ambrosia and stuffed it in her mouth. Her heart raced faster. Her skin felt feverish. Hesitantly, she flexed her ankle against the splint. No pain. No stiffness at all. She cut through the duct tape with her dagger and heard heavy steps on the stairs, like metal boots. Had it been 5 minutes? Longer? The steps didn't sound like Jason, but maybe he was carrying Leo. Finally, she couldn't stand it. Gripping the dagger, she called out. Jason? Yeah, he said from the darkness. On my way up. Definitely Jason's voice. So why did all her instincts say, run? With effort, she got to her feet. The steps came closer. It's okay, Jason's voice promised. At the top of the stairs, a face appeared out of the darkness. A hideous black grin, a smashed nose, and a single bloodshot eye in the middle of his forehead. It's fine, the Cyclops said, in a perfect imitation of Jason's voice. You're just in time. You're just in time for dinner. You're just in time for dinner. Yikes, dude. "13. Leo. Leo wished the dragon hadn't landed on the toilets. Of all the places to crash, a line of porta-potties would not have been his first choice. A dozen of the blue plastic boxes had been set up in the factory yard, and Festus had flattened them all. Fortunately, they hadn't been used in a long time, and the fireball from the crash incinerated most of the contents. But still, there were some pretty gross chemicals leaking out of the wreckage. Leo had to pick his way through and try not to breathe through his nose. Heavy snow was coming down, but the dragon's hide was still steaming hot. Of course, that didn't bother Leo. After a few minutes climbing over Festus's inanimate body, Leo started to get irritated. The dragon looked perfectly fine. Yes, it had fallen out of the sky and landed with a big kaboom, but its body wasn't even dented. The fireball had apparently come from built-up gases inside the toilet units, not from the dragon itself. Festus's wings were intact. Nothing seemed broken. There was no reason it should have stopped. "Not my fault," he muttered. "Festus, you're making me look bad. You're making me look bad." Then he opened the control panel on the dragon's head, and Leo's heart sank. "Oh, Festus! What the heck? What the heck? What the heck?" The wiring had frozen over. Leo knew it had been okay yesterday. He'd worked so hard to repair the corroded lines, but something had caused a flash freeze inside the dragon's skull, where it should have been too hot for ice to form. The ice had caused the wiring to overload and char the control disk. Leo couldn't see any reason that it would have happened. Sure, the dragon was old, but still, it didn't make sense. He could replace the wires, that wasn't a problem. But the charred control disk was not good. The Greek letters and pictures carved around the edges, which probably held all kinds of magic, were blurred and blackened. The one piece of hardware Leo couldn't replace, and it was damaged. Again. He imagined his mom's voice. "Most problems look worse than they are, mijo. Nothing is unfixable." His mom could repair just about anything, but Leo was pretty sure she never worked on a 50-year-old magic metal dragon. He clenched his teeth and decided he had to try. He wasn't walking from Detroit to Chicago in a snowstorm, and he wasn't going to be responsible for stranding his friends. "Right," he muttered, brushing the snow off his shoulders. "Give me a nylon bristle detail brush, some nitrile gloves, and maybe a can of that aerosol cleaning solvent. Maybe a can of that aerosol cleaning solvent. The tool belt obliged. Leo couldn't help smiling as he pulled out the supplies. The belt's pockets did have limits. They wouldn't give him anything magic, like Jason's sword, or anything huge, like a chainsaw. He tried asking for both. He'd tried asking for both. And if he asked for too many things at once, the belt needed a cooldown time before it could work again. The more complicated the request, the longer the cooldown. But anything small and simple, like you might find around a workshop, all Leo had to do was ask. He began cleaning off the control disk. While he worked, snow collected on the cooling dragon. Leo had to stop from time to time to summon fire and melt it away. But mostly, he went into autopilot mode, his hands working by themselves as his thoughts wandered. Leo couldn't believe how stupid he'd acted back at Boreas's place. He should have figured a family of winter gods would hate him on sight. Son of the fire god flying a fire-breathing dragon into an ice penthouse? Yeah, maybe not the best move. Still, he hated feeling like a reject. Jason and Piper got to visit the throne room. Leo got to wait in the lobby with Cal, the demigod of hockey and major head injuries.
Fire is bad,
Cal had told him. Hey man, I'm cool with links being put in the chat, but please tell me what it is first. Alright, fair enough. I can appreciate a good monkey video. Just for real, man. Like, it's stream etiquette, you know? Ask first. Thanks for the backup, B-dubs.
Fire is bad,
Cal had told him. That pretty much summed it up. Leo knew he couldn't keep the truth from his friends much longer. Ever since Camp Half-Blood, one line of that great prophecy kept coming back to him. To storm or fire, the world must fall. What's up, Mal? Welcome, welcome. It's 6 a.m. Snap. Have you been up all night? I agree, P-dubs. Go to bed or good morning? Ah, so you just woke up. Nice. Right on, man. I appreciate you popping in before school. And I wish you the best of luck with your studies. It's funny. This is like, I don't know, this is like a bedtime stories section Or this is a bedtime story stream, but I forget that, shoot. I forget that some folks might chime in during morning hours. I live in Austria, like next to Germany. Man, that's really cool, man. I don't think I've I don't know, I've had somebody from Austria pop in the stream yet. Congratulations, you are the first. Have you lived there all your life? You know, grew up there and all. Nice, nice. Right on. Well, hey, hope you enjoy the story, man. And Leo was the fire guy. The first one since 1666, when London had burned down. If he told his friends what he could really do. Hey, guess what, guys? I might destroy the world. Why would anyone welcome him back at camp? Leo would have to go on the run again, even though he knew that drill. The idea depressed him. Then there was Keone. Dang! That girl was fine! Leo knew he acted like a total fool, but he couldn't help himself. He'd had his clothes cleaned with the 1-hour valet service, which had been totally sweet, by the way. He'd combed his hair, never an easy job, and even discovered the tool bag could make breath mints, all in hopes that he could get close to her. Naturally, no such luck. Getting frozen out, story of his life, by his relatives, foster homes, you name it. Even at wilderness school, Leo had spent the last few weeks feeling like a third wheel, as Jason and Piper were his only friends. And they had become a couple. He was happy for them and all, but still, it made him feel like they didn't need him anymore. When he'd found out that Jason's whole time at school had been an illusion, a kind of memory burp, Leo had been secretly excited. It was a chance for a reset. Now Jason and Piper were heading towards being a couple again. That was obvious from the way they'd acted in the warehouse just now. Like they wanted to talk in private without Leo around. What had he expected? He'd wind up the odd man out again. Keone had just given him the cold shoulder a little quicker than most. Enough, Valdez, he scolded himself. Nobody's going to play any violins for you just because you're not important. Fix the stupid dragon. He got so involved with his work, he wasn't sure how much time had passed before he heard the voice. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong, Leo, it said. He fumbled his brush and dropped it into the dragon's head. He stood, but he couldn't see who'd spoken. Then he looked around. Then at the ground. Snow and chemical sludge from the toilets, even the asphalt itself, was shifting like it was turning to liquid. A 10-foot wide area formed eyes, a nose, and a mouth. The giant face of a sleeping woman. She didn't exactly speak, Her lips didn't move, but Leo could hear her voice in his head, as if the vibrations were coming through the ground, straight into his feet, and resonating up his skeleton. "They need you desperately," she said. "In some ways, you are the most important of the 7. Like the control disk in the dragon's brain. Without you, the power of the others means nothing. They will never reach me, never stop me. And I will finally awake." You. Leo was shaking so badly, he wasn't sure he'd spoken aloud. He hadn't heard the voice since he was 8. But it was her, the earthen woman from the machine shop. You killed my mom." The face shifted. The mouth formed a sleepy smile, like it was having a pleasant dream. But Leo, I am your mother too. The first mother. Do not oppose me. Walk away now. Let my son, Porphyrion, rise and become king, and I will ease your burdens. You will tread lightly on this earth. Leo grabbed the nearest thing he could find, a porta-potty seat, and threw it at the face. "Leave me alone!" The toilet seat sank into the liquid earth. Snow and sludge rippled, and the face dissolved. Leo stared at the ground, waiting for the face to reappear. But it didn't. Leo wanted to think he'd imagined it. Then, from the direction of the factory, he heard a crash, like 2 dump trucks slamming together. Metal crumpled and groaned, and the noise echoed across the yard. Instantly, Leo knew that Jason and Piper were in trouble. "Walk away now," the voice had urged. "Not likely. Not likely," Leo growled. "Give me the biggest hammer you got. Give me the biggest hammer you got." He reached into his tool belt and pulled out a 3-pound club hammer with a double-faced head the size of a baked potato. Then he jumped off the dragon's back and ran towards the warehouse. Ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. Go, Leo! Gosh, not cool. Not cool, Earth Lady. What the heck are you trying to do to my man's Leo? Gosh, he hadn't heard that voice since he was 8. Since he was 8. Oh man, it is that time. It's time for book on face. Ba-ba-dum. Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. 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 Oh yeah. Book on face, baby. Thank you for redeeming book on face, P-dubs. Genuinely, that was quite nice. Shoot, I think I'm actually not gonna do the break like I usually do. One, because I gotta know what happens with this freaking Cyclops that just showed up out of the blue. And B, I don't know. I don't want to go too terribly late tonight. Got some laundry to fold. "14. Leo." Leo stopped at the doors and tried to control his breathing. The voice of the Earth Woman still rang in his ears, reminding him of his mother's death. The last thing he wanted to do was plunge into another dark warehouse. Suddenly, he felt 8 years old again, alone and helpless, as someone he cared about was trapped and in trouble. "Stop it," he told himself. "That's how she wants you to feel." But that didn't make him any less scared. He took a deep breath and peered inside. Nothing looked different. Gray morning light filtered through the hole in the roof. A few light bulbs flickered, but most of the factory was still lost in shadow. He could make out the catwalk above, the dim shapes of heavy machinery along the assembly line, but no movement, no sign of his friends. He almost called out, but something had stopped him, a sense he couldn't identify. Then he realized it was smell. Something smelled wrong, like burning motor oil and sour breath. Something not human was inside the factory. Leo was certain. His body shifted into high gear, all his nerves tingling. Somebody on the factory floor. Somewhere on the factory floor, Piper's voice cried out. "Leo! Help!" But Leo held his tongue. How could Piper have gotten off the catwalk with a broken ankle? He slipped inside and ducked behind a cargo container. Slowly, gripping his hammer, he worked his way toward the center of the room, hiding behind boxes and hollow truck chassis. Finally, he reached the assembly line. He crouched behind the nearest piece of machinery, a crane with a robotic arm. Piper's voice called out again. "Leo?" Less certain this time, but very close. Leo peeked around the machinery, hanging directly above the assembly line, suspended by a chain from a crane on the opposite side, was a massive truck engine, just dangling 30 feet up, as if it had been left there when the factory was abandoned. Below it on the conveyor belt sat a truck chassis, and cluttered around it were 3 dark shapes the size of forklifts. Nearby, dangling from chains on 2 other robotic arms, were 2 smaller shapes. Maybe more engines, but one of them was twisting around as if it were alive. Hey, May, what's poppin'? What's poppin'? Girlfriend? Well, I don't think I've greeted anyone like that ever. What's up, May? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, sorry it's spoiler time. It's been good. It's been real good. I know I've been enjoying it. It's getting into like a bit of an action sequence currently, which is even more exciting. I actually remember this part from when I read it as a preteen. I don't exactly remember what happened, but I remember this setting and the battle. Chassis? Chassis? What? What? Sacre bleu. Well, now I know. My apologies for the, what the heck? Why would you think this was a bad thing to say? The automod held that back. I don't know. Guess it makes as much sense as Cramples. Chassis. Thank you, P-dubs. I appreciate that. Honestly, anytime I'm mispronouncing a word, please tell me as soon as you can. Otherwise, I'm a keep mispronouncing it. Then one of the forklift shapes rose, and Leo realized it was a humanoid of massive size. Told you it was nothing, the thing rumbled. Its voice was too deep and feral to be human. One of the other forklift-sized lumps shifted and called out in Piper's voice. Leo! Help me! Help! Then the voice changed, becoming a masculine snarl. Bah! There's nobody out there. No demigod can be that quiet, eh? No demigod can be that quiet, eh? The first monster chuckled. Probably ran away. If he knows what's good for him. Or the girl was lying about a third demigod. Let's get cooking. Right on. See you later, May. A bright orange light sizzled to life. An emergency flare, and Leo was temporarily blinded. He ducked behind the crane until the spots cleared from his eyes. Then he took another peep and saw a nightmare scene even Tia Khalida couldn't have dreamed up. The 2 smaller things dangling from crane arms weren't engines. They were Jason and Piper. Both hung upside down, tied by their ankles and cocooned with chains up to their necks. Piper was flailing around, trying to free herself. Her mouth was gagged, but at least she was alive. Jason didn't look so good. He hung limply. His eyes rolled up in his head, A red welt the size of an apple had swollen over his left eyebrow. On the conveyor belt, the bed of the unfinished pickup truck was being used as a fire pit. The emergency flare had ignited a mixture of tire and wood, which from the smell of it had been doused in kerosene. A big metal pole was suspended over the flames. A spit, Leo realized, which meant this was a cooking fire. But most terrifying of all were the cooks. Monocle Motors. That single red eye logo. Why hadn't Leo realized? 3 massive humanoid creatures gathered around the fire. 2 were standing, stoking the flames. The largest one crouched with his back to Leo. The 2 facing him were each 10 feet tall, with hairy, muscular bodies and skin that glowed red in the firelight. One of the monsters wore a chainmail loincloth and looked really uncomfortable. The other wore a ragged, fuzzy toga made of fiberglass insulation, which also would not have made Leo's top 10 wardrobe ideas. Other than that, the 2 monsters could have been twins. Each had a brutish face with a single eye in the center of his forehead. The cooks were Cyclops. Leo's legs started quaking. He'd seen some weird things so far. Storm spirits, and winged gods, and a metal dragon that liked Tabasco sauce. But this was different. These were actual flesh and blood, 10-foot-tall living monsters who wanted to eat his friends for dinner. He was so terrified he could hardly think. If only he had Festus. He could use a fire-breathing 60-foot-long tank about now. But all he had was a tool belt and a backpack. His 3-pound club hammer looked awfully small compared to those Cyclopses. P-dubs. My answer is both. Or maybe like a half and half concoction. That'd be tight. This is what the sleeping Earth Lady had been talking about. She wanted Leo to walk away and leave his friends to die. That decided it. No way was Leo going to let that Earth Lady make him feel powerless. Never again. Leo slipped off his backpack and quietly started to unzip it. The Cyclops in the chainmail loincloth walked over to Piper, who squirmed and tried to headbutt him in the eye. Can I take off her gag now? I like it when they scream. The question was directed at the 3rd Cyclops, apparently the leader. The crouching figure grunted, and Loincloth ripped the gag off Piper's mouth. She didn't scream. She took a shaky breath, like she was trying to keep herself calm. Meanwhile, Leo found what he wanted in the pack. A stack of tiny remote control units he picked up in Bunker 9. At least, he hoped that's what they were. The robotic crane's maintenance panel was easy to find. He slipped a screwdriver from his tool belt and went to work. But he had to go slowly. The leader Cyclops was only 20 feet in front of him. The monster obviously had excellent senses. Pulling off his plan without making noise seemed impossible. But he didn't have much choice. The Cyclops in the toga poked at the fire, which was now blazing away and billowing nauseous black smoke toward the ceiling. His buddy Loincloth glowered at Piper, waiting for her to do something entertaining. "Scream, girl! I like funny screaming." When Piper finally spoke, her tone was calm and reasonable, like she was correcting a naughty puppy. Oh, Mr. Cyclops, you don't want to kill us. It would be much better if you let us go. It would be much better if you let us go. Loincloth scratched his ugly head. He turned to his friend in the fiberglass toga. "She's kind of pretty, Torque. Maybe I should let her go." Torque, the dude in the toga, growled. "I saw her first, Sump. All let her go." Sump and Torque started to argue, but the third Cyclops rose and shouted, "Fools!" Leo almost dropped his screwdriver. The third Cyclops was a female. She was several feet taller than Torque and Sump, and even beefier. She wore a tent of chainmail, cut like one of those sack dresses Leo's mean Aunt Rosa used to wear. What did they call that? A muumuu? Yeah, the Cyclops lady had a chainmail muumuu. Her greasy black hair was matted in pigtails, woven with copper wire and metal washers. Her nose and mouth were thick and smashed together, like she spent her free time ramming her face into walls. But her single red eye glittered with evil intelligence. The woman Cyclops stalked over to Sump and pushed him aside, knocking him on the conveyor belt. Torque backed up quickly. "The girl is Venus spawn. The girl is Venus spawn. Is Venus spawn," the lady Cyclops snarled. "She's using charm speak on you. She's using charm speak on you." Piper started to say, "Please, ma'am." The lady Cyclops grabbed Piper around the waist. "Don't try your pretty talk on me, girl. I'm my gasket. I've eaten heroes tougher than you for lunch." Leo feared Piper would get crushed, but Ma Gasket just dropped her and let her dangle from her chain. Then she started yelling at Sump about how stupid he was. Leo's hands worked furiously. He twisted wires and turned switches, hardly thinking about what he was doing. He finished attaching the remote. Then he crept over to the next robotic arm, while the Cyclopses were talking. "Eat a last more, eat a last more," Sump was saying. "Idiot! Idiot!" Ma Gasket yelled, and Leo realized Sump and Torque must be her sons. If so, ugly definitely ran in the family. "I should have thrown you out on the streets when you were babies,"
like proper Cyclops children. You might have learned some useful skills. Curse my soft heart that I kept you. Soft heart, soft heart, soft heart, Torque muttered. What was that, you ingrate? Nothing more. I said you got a soft heart. I said you got a soft heart. We get to work for you, feed you, file your toenails. And you should be grateful, Ma Gasket bellowed. Now stoke the fire, Torque. And Samp, you idiot. My case of salsa is in the other warehouse. Don't tell me you expect me to eat these demigods without salsa. Yes, Ma, Samp said. No, Ma. Go get it! Ma Gasket picked up a nearby truck chassis and slammed it over Slump's head. Sump crumpled to his knees. Leo was sure a hit like that would kill him, but Sump apparently got hit by trucks a lot. He managed to push the chassis off his head. Then he staggered to his feet and ran to fetch the salsa. Now's the time, Leo thought, while they're separated. He finished wiring the second machine and moved towards the third. As he dashed between robotic arms, the Cyclops didn't see him, but Piper did. Her expression turned from terror to disbelief, and she gasped. Ma Gasket turned to her. What's the matter, girl? So fragile I broke you? Thankfully, Piper was a quick thinker. She looked away from Leo and said, I think it's my ribs, ma'am. If I'm busted up inside, I'll taste terrible. Ma Gasket bellowed with laughter. Good one! The last hero we ate. Remember him, Torque? Son of Mercury, wasn't he? Yes, Ma, Torque said. Tasty. Little bit stringy. He tried a trick like that. Said he was on medication. But he tasted fine. Tasted like mutton, Torque recalled. Purple shirt, talked in Latin. Yes, a bit stringy, but good. Leo's fingers froze on the maintenance panel. Apparently Piper was having the same thought he was, because she asked, Purple shirt? Latin? Good eatin', Ma Gasket said fondly. Point is, girl, we're not as dumb as people think. We're not falling for those stupid tricks and riddles. Not us northern Cyclopses. Leo forced himself back to work, but his mind was racing. A kid who spoke Latin had been caught here, in a purple shirt, like Jason's? He didn't know what that meant, but he had to leave the interrogation to Piper. If he was going to have any chance of defeating these monsters, he had to move fast
before Sump came back with the salsa. He looked up at the engine block suspended right above the Cyclops' campsite. He wished he could use that. It would make a great weapon. But the crane holding it was on the opposite side of the conveyor belt. There was no way Leo could get over there without being seen. And besides, he was running short on time. The last part of his plan was the trickiest. From his tool belt he summoned some wires, a radio adapter, and a small screwdriver, and started to build a universal remote. For the first time, he said a silent thank you to his dad, Hephaestus, for the magic tool belt. "Get me out of here! Get me out of here!" he prayed. "And maybe you're not such a jerk." Piper kept talking, laying on the praise. "Oh, I've heard about the Northern Cyclopses," which Leo figured was bull, but she sounded convincing. I never knew you were so big and clever." "Flattery won't work either," Ma Gasket said, though she sounded pleased. "It's true. You'll be breakfast for the best Cyclopses around." "But aren't Cyclopses good?" Piper asked. "I thought you made weapons for the gods." "Bah! I'm very good. Good at eating people. Good at smashing. And good at building things, yes, but not for the gods. Our cousins, the elder Cyclopses, they do this, yeah? Thinking they're so high and mighty 'cause they're a few thousand years old. Then there's our southern cousins, living on islands and tending sheep. Morons! But we Hyperborean Cyclopses, the northern clan, we're the best. Founded Monocle Motors in the salt factory. The best weapons, armor, chariots, fuel, efficient SUVs. And yet, bah! Forced to shut down. Laid off most of our tribe. The war was too quick. Titans lost. No good. No more need for Cyclops weapons." "Oh no," Piper sympathized. "I'm sure you made some amazing weapons." Torque grinned. Squeaky warhammer." He picked up a large pole with an accordion-looking metal box on the end. He slammed it against the floor, and the cement cracked. But there was also a sound like the world's largest rubber ducky getting stumped. "Terrifying," Piper said. Torque looked pleased. "Not as good as the exploding axe, but this one can be used more than once. But this one can be used more than once." "Can I see it?" Piper asked. "If you could just free my hands." Torque stepped forward eagerly, but Ma Gasket said, "Stupid! She's tricking you again. Enough talk. Slay the boy first, before he dies on his own. I like my meat fresh." No. Leo's fingers flew, connecting the wires for the remote. Just a few more minutes. Hey, wait, Piper said, trying to get the Cyclops' attention. Hey, can I just ask? The wire sparked in Leo's hand. The Cyclops froze and turned in his direction. Then Torque picked up a truck and threw it at him. Leo rolled as the truck steamrolled over the machinery. If he'd been half a second slower, he would have been smashed. He got to his feet, and Ma Gasket spotted him. She yelled, "Torque, you pathetic excuse for a Cyclops! Get him!" Torque barreled towards him. Leo frantically gunned the toggle on his makeshift remote. Torque was 50 feet away, 20 feet, when the first robotic arm whirred to life. A 3-ton yellow metal claw slammed the Cyclops in the back so hard he landed flat on his face. Before Torque could recover, the robotic hand grabbed him by one leg and hurled him straight up. Torque rocketed into the gloom. The ceiling was too dark and too high up to see exactly what had happened, but judging by the huge metal clang, Leo guessed the Cyclops had hit one of the support girders. Torque never came down. Instead, yellow dust rained to the floor. Torque had disintegrated. Ma Gasket stared at Leo in shock. "My son! You! As if on cue, Sump lumbered into the firelight with a case of salsa. "More, I got the extra spicy. He never finished his sentence. Leo spun the remote toggle, and the second robotic arm whacked Sump in the chest. The salsa case exploded like a piñata, and Sump flew backwards, straight into the base of Leo's third machine. Sump may have been immune to getting hit with a truck chassis, but he wasn't immune to robotic arms that could deliver 10,000 pounds of force. The third crane arm slammed him against the floor so hard he exploded into dust like a broken flour sack. 2 Cyclopses down? Leo was beginning to feel like Commander Toolbelt when Ma Gasket locked her eyes on him. She grabbed the nearest crane arm and ripped it off its pedestal with a savage roar. "You busted my boys! Only I get to bust my boys!" Leo punched a button, and the 2 remaining arms swung into action. Ma Gasket caught the first one and tore it in half. The second arm smacked her in the head, but that only seemed to make her mad. She grabbed it by the clamps, ripped it free, and swung it like a baseball bat. It missed Piper and Jason by an inch. Then Ma Gasket let it go, spinning it towards Leo. He yelped and rolled to one side as it demolished the machine next to him. Leo started to realize that an angry Cyclops mother was not something you wanted to fight with a universal remote and a screwdriver. The future for Commander Toolbelt was not looking so hot. She stood about 20 feet from him now, next to the cooking fire. Her fists were clenched, her teeth bared. She looked ridiculous in her chainmail muumuu and her greasy pigtails, but given the murderous glare in her huge red eye and the fact that she was 12 feet tall, Leo wasn't laughing. "Any more tricks, demigod?" Ma Gasket demanded. Leo glanced up, The engine block suspended on the chain. If only he'd had time to rig it. If only he could get Ma Gasket to take one step forward. The chain itself. That one link. Leo shouldn't have been able to see it, especially from so far down, but his senses told him there was metal fatigue. Heck yeah! I got tricks! Leo raised his remote control. Take one more step, and I'll destroy you with fire. Ma Gasket laughed. Would ya? Cyclops are immune to fire. You idiot! But if you wish to play with flames, let me help. She scooped red-hot coals into her bare hands and flung them at Leo. They landed all around his feet. You missed, he said incredulously. You missed, he said incredulously. Then Ma Gasket grinned and picked up a barrel next to the truck. Leo just had time to read the stenciled word on the side. Kerosene. Before Ma Gasket threw it, the barrel split on the floor in front of him, spilling lighter fluid everywhere. Coal sparked. Leo closed his eyes and Piper screamed, "No!" A firestorm erupted around him. When Leo opened his eyes, he was bathed in flames, swirling 20 feet into the air. Ma Gasket shrieked with delight, but Leo didn't offer the fire any good fuel. The kerosene burned off, dying down to small fiery patches on the floor. Piper gasped. "Leo?" Ma Gasket looked astonished. You live? Then she took that extra step forwards, which put her right where Leo wanted. What are you? The son of Hephaestus. The son of Hephaestus, Leo said. And I warned you. I'd destroy you with fire. I'd destroy you with fire. And I warned you. I'd destroy you with fire. He pointed one finger in the air and summoned all his will. He'd never tried to do anything so focused and intense, but he shot a bolt of white-hot flames at the chain suspending the engine block above the Cyclops' head, aiming for that link that looked weaker than the rest. The flames died. Nothing happened. Ma Gasket laughed. An impressive try, son of Hephaestus. It's been many centuries since I saw a fire user. You'll make a spicy appetizer. The chain snapped. That single link heated beyond its tolerance point, and the engine block fell, deadly and silent. I don't think so, Leo said. Ma Gasket didn't even have time to look up. Smash! No more Cyclops. Just a pile of dust under a 5-ton engine block. Whoo! Not immune to engines, huh? Leo said. Booyah! Hoo! Then he fell to his knees his head buzzing. After a few minutes, he realized Piper was calling his name. "Leo? Leo! Are you all right? Can you move?" He stumbled to his feet. He'd never tried to summon such an intense flame before, and it had left him completely drained. It took him a long time to get Piper down from her chains. Then together, they lowered Jason, who was still unconscious. Piper managed to trickle a little nectar into his mouth, and he groaned. The welt on his head started to shrink. His color came back a little. "Yeah, he's got a nice thick skull. He's got a nice thick skull," Leo said. "I think he's gonna be fine." "Thank God. Thank God," Piper sighed. Then she looked at Leo with something like fear. "How did you... the fire... have you always..." Leo looked down. "Always," he said. "I'm a freaking menace. I'm a freaking menace. Yeah, sorry. I should have told you guys sooner, but, sorry." Piper punched his arm. When he looked up, she was grinning. "That was amazing, Valdez. You saved our lives. What are you sorry about?" Leo blinked. He started to smile, but his sense of relief was ruined when he noticed something next to Piper's foot. Yellow dust. The powdered remains of one of the Cyclopses, maybe Torque, was shifting across the floor like an invisible wind was pushing it back together. "They're forming again. They're forming again," Leo said. Look. Piper stepped away from the dust. "That's not possible. That's not possible. Annabeth told me monsters dissipate when they're killed. They go back to Tartarus and can't reform for a long time." "Well, nobody told the dust that. Nobody told the dust that." Leo watched as it collected into a pile, then very slowly spread out, forming a shape with arms and legs. "Oh God. Oh God." Piper turned pale. "Boreas said something about this. The earth yielding up horrors. When monsters no longer stay in Tartarus, and souls are no longer confined to Hades. Oh, how long do you think we have?" Leo thought about the face that had formed in the ground outside. The sleeping woman who was definitely a horror from the earth. "I don't know," he said, "but we need to get out of here." "15. Jason." Jason dreamt he was wrapped in chains, hanging upside down like a hunk of meat. Except everything hurt. His arms, or rather, like a hunk of meat. Everything hurt. His arms, his legs, his chest, his head, especially his head. It felt like an overinflated water balloon. "If I'm dead," he murmured. Why does it hurt so much?
You're not dead, my hero. You're not dead, my hero,
said a woman's voice.
It is not your time. It is not your time. Come, speak with me. Speak with me.
Jason's thoughts floated away from his body. He heard monsters yelling, his friends screaming, fiery explosions, but it all seemed to be happening on another plane of existence, getting further and further away. He found himself standing in an earthen cage. Tendrils of tree roots and stone whirled together, confining him. Outside the bars, he could see the floor of a dry, reflecting pool. Another earthen spire growing at the far end, and above them, the ruined red stones of a burned-out house. Next to him in the cage, a woman sat cross-legged in black robes, her head covered by a shroud. She pushed aside her veil, revealing a face that was proud and beautiful, but also hardened with suffering. Era, Jason said.
Welcome to my prison,
said the goddess.
You will not die today, Jason. Your friends will see you through. For now. For now.
For now? He asked. Era gestured at the tendrils of her cage.
There are worse trials to come. There are worse trials to come. The very earth stirs against us. Against us.
You're a goddess, Jason said. Why can't you just escape? Era smiled sadly. Her form began to glow until her brilliance filled the cage with painful light. The air hummed with power, molecules splitting apart like a nuclear explosion. Jason suspected if he were actually there in the flesh, he would have been vaporized. Hey, thank you for the follow, GCM. I do not appreciate that was the first thing you tried to say in chat, though. And I implore you not to again, for no reason at least. Thank you. And I hope you enjoy the reading. The cage should have been blasted to rubble. The ground should have split, and the ruined house should have been leveled. But when the glow died, the cage hadn't budged. Nothing outside the bars had changed. Only Era looked different, a little more stooped and tired.
Some powers are even greater than the gods, she said. I am not easily contained. I can be in many places at once. But when a greater part of my essence is caught, it is like a foot in a bear trap, you might say. I can't escape. And I am concealed from the eyes of the other gods. Only you can find me. And I grow weaker by the day.
Then why did you come here? Jason asked. How were you caught? The goddess sighed.
I could not stay idle. Your father, Jupiter, believes he can withdraw from the world, and thus lull our enemies back to sleep. He believes we Olympians have become too involved in the affairs of mortals, in the fates of our demigod children, especially since we agreed to claim them all after the war. He believes this is what caused our enemies to stir. That is why he closed Olympus. That is why he closed Olympus.
But you don't agree.
No, she said. Often I do not understand my husband's moods, nor his decisions. But even for Zeus, this seemed paranoid. I cannot fathom why he was so insistent and so convinced. It was unlike him. As Hera, I might have been content to follow my lord's wishes, but I am also Juno.
Her image flickered, and Jason saw armor under her simple black robes, a goatskin cloak, the symbol of a Roman warrior across her bronze mantle.
Juno Moneta, they once called me. Juno, the one who warns. I was guardian of the state, patron of eternal Rome. I could not sit by while the descendants of my people were attacked. I sensed danger at this sacred spot. A voice...
She hesitated.
A voice told me I should come here. Gods do not have what you might call a conscience, nor do we have dreams. But the voice was like that, soft and persistent, warning me to come here. And so, the same day Zeus closed Olympus, I slipped away without telling him my plans, so he could not stop me. And I came here to investigate.
It was a trap, Jason guessed. The god nodded. The goddess nodded.
Only too late did I realize how quickly the earth was stirring. I was even more foolish than Jupiter, a slave to my own impulses. This is exactly how it happened the first time. I was taken captive by the giants, and my imprisonment started a war. Now our enemies rise again. The gods can only defeat them with the help of the greatest living heroes. And the one whom the giants serve, she cannot be defeated at all, only kept asleep.
I don't understand.
You will soon,
Hera said. The cage began to constrict, the tendrils spiraling together, tighter. Hera's form shivered like a candle flame in a breeze. Outside the cage, Jason could see shapes gathering at the edge of the pool, lumbering humanoids with hunched backs and bald heads. Unless Jason's eyes were tricking him, they had more than one set of arms. He heard wolves, too, but not the wolves he'd seen with Lupa. He could tell from their howls this was a different pack. Hungrier, more aggressive, out for blood.
Hurry, Jason, Hera said. My keepers approach, and you begin to wake. I will not be strong enough to appear to you again, even in dreams.
Wait, he said. Boreas told us you'd made a dangerous gamble. What did he mean? Era's eyes looked wild, and Jason wondered if she really had done something crazy.
An exchange, she said. The only way to bring peace. The enemy counts on our divisions, and if we are divided, we will be destroyed. You are my peace offering, Jason. A bridge to overcome millennia of hatred.
What?
I cannot tell you more, Era said. You have only lived this long because I have taken your memory. Find this place. Return to your starting point. Your sister will help.
Thalia? The scene began to dissolve.
Goodbye, Jason. Beware, Chicago. Your most dangerous mortal enemy awaits there. If you are to die, it will be by her hand.
Who? He demanded, but Era's image faded, and Jason awoke. His eyes snapped open. Cyclops!
Whoa, sleepyhead. Whoa, sleepyhead.
Piper sat behind him on the bronze dragon, holding his waist to keep him balanced. Leo sat in front, driving. They flew peacefully through the winter sky as if nothing had happened. Detroit, Jason stammered. Didn't we crash land? I thought...
It's okay, Leo said. We got away. But you got a nasty concussion. How you feeling?
Jason's head throbbed. He remembered the factory. Then walking down the catwalk, then a creature looming over him. A face with one eye, a massive fist. And everything went black. How did you... The Cyclops...
Leo ripped them apart. Piper said. He was amazing. He can summon fire? It was nothing. It was nothing, Leo said quickly.
Piper laughed.
Shut up, Valdez. I'm going to tell him. Get over it.
And she did. How Leo single-handedly defeated the Cyclops family. How they freed Jason. Then noticed the Cyclopses reforming. How Leo had replaced the dragon's wiring and gotten them back in the air just as they'd started to hear the Cyclopses roaring for vengeance inside the factory. Jason was impressed. Taking out 3 Cyclopses with nothing but a toolkit. Not bad. It didn't exactly scare him to hear how close he'd come to death, but it did make him feel horrible. He'd stepped right into an ambush and spent the whole fight knocked out while his friends fended for themselves. What kind of quest leader was he? When Piper told him about the other kid, the Cyclops claimed to have eaten the one in the purple shirt who spoke Latin, Jason felt like his head was going to explode. A son of Mercury. Jason felt like he should know that kid, but the name was missing from his mind. I'm not alone then. I'm not alone then, he said. There are others like me.
Jason,
Piper said. You were never alone. You've got us. I know. But something Eris said. I was having a dream. He told them what he'd seen, and what the goddess had said inside her cage. An exchange? Piper asked. What does that mean? Jason shook his head. But Era's gamble is me. Just by sending me to Camp Half-Blood, I have a feeling she broke some kind of rule. Something that could blow up in a big way. Or save us, Piper said hopefully. That bit about the sleeping enemy. That sounds like the lady Leo told us about. Leo cleared his throat. About that, she kind of appeared to me back in Detroit, in a pool of porta-potty sludge. In a pool of porta-potty sludge? Jason wasn't sure he'd heard that right. Did you just say porta-potty? Leo told them about the big face in the factory yard. I don't know if she's completely unkillable, he said. But she can't be defeated by toilet seats. I can vouch for that. She wanted me to betray you guys, and I was like, right, I'm gonna listen to a face in the potty sludge? Wrong. She's trying to divide us. She's trying to divide us. Piper slipped her arms from around Jason's waist. He could sense her tension without even looking at her. What's wrong? Why are they toying with us? Who is this lady, and how is she connected to Uncladus? Uncladus. Uncladus. Jason didn't think he'd heard that name before. I mean... Piper's voice quavered. That's one of the giants, just one of the names I could remember. Just one of the names I could remember. Jason got the feeling there was a lot more bothering her, but he decided not to press her. She'd had a rough morning. Leo scratched his head. Well, I don't know about enchiladas. Uncaladas, Piper corrected. Whatever. But old Potty Face mentioned another name. Porpoisephere. Or something? Porpoisephere? Or something like that. Porphyrion? Piper asked. He was the giant king, I think. Jason envisioned that dark spire in the old reflecting pool, growing larger as Era grew weaker. I'm going to take a wild guess, he said. In the old stories, Porphyrion kidnapped Era. That was the first shot in the war between the giants and the gods. I think so, Piper agreed. But those myths are really garbled and conflicted. It's almost like nobody wanted the story to survive. I just remember there was a war, and the giants were almost impossible to kill. Heroes and gods had to work together, Jason said. That's what Era told me. Kind of hard to do, Leo grumbled. If the gods won't even talk to us... If the gods won't even talk to us. They flew west, and Jason became lost in his thoughts. All of them bad. He wasn't sure how much time passed before the dragon dove through the break in the clouds, and below them, glittering in the winter sun, was a city at the edge of a massive lake. A crescent of skyscrapers lined the shore. Behind them, stretching out to the western horizon, was a vast grid of snow-covered neighborhoods and roads. Snow-covered neighborhoods and roads. Chicago, Jason said. He thought about what Era had said in his dreams. Chicago, Jason said. He thought about what Era had said in his dream. His worst mortal enemy would be waiting here. If he was going to die, it would be by her hand. "One problem down," Leo said. "We got here alive. Now, how do we find storm spirits?" Jason saw a flash of movement below them. At first, he thought it was a small plane, but it was too small, too dark, and fast. The thing spiraled toward the skyscrapers, weaving and changing shape, and just for a moment, it became the smoky figure of a horse. "How about we follow that one?" Jason suggested, "and see where it goes. And see where it goes." Whew. Dang, guys. And that wraps up our story for the night. Porphyrion. So Enceladus. Well, sounds like I'm saying Uncle Idus. Like I have a fear of uncles. Uncle Idus. That's so good. Heck. Do you guys have Uncle Idus? Sorry. So Enceladus is actually not the most threatening Cyclops giant man, or rather just giant. Yeah, it's a break moment. Break moment. Break moment. Break. It's break time. Yeah, this is gonna be like the wrap-up segment, where we wind down and start moseying towards the outro. Man, those were some good chapters. Quite the action sequence. I remember that section fondly, with Leo, with what Leo did. Thinking ingenuitively to take down those Cyclopses. Yeah, it's because two monsters that they came across in the story were wearing chainmail underwear and fiberglass underwear. Like loincloths. And whoa, Mitch, am I scared of uncles? I don't know. I don't think so. Leo did something then. Yeah, he definitely did something. And man, with the slight hint at them talking about how they ate a child of Mercury, a kid in a purple shirt. I know what that means. You guys, I don't think, know what it means. I do though. Why would the monster wear that? Yeah, beats me. They obviously aren't ones that live in the lap of luxury, you know. After all, they were living in an abandoned warehouse called Monocle Motors. Big lol. Didn't you say that word sounded like, yeah, it sounded like Uncleitis. There's a character in the story called Uncleitis, but if you say it like separated, like Uncle-itis, if you say it slow like that, it sounds like Uncle-itis. Like and that would mean like someone having the fear of uncles. Which I thought was a big lol. Big lol. I don't know. I still think it's a cool name. I do kind of want to look up how it's actually pronounced, though. The Wikipedia. Oh, there's a romanized version. How do you pronounce it? What the heck? I thought Wikipedia would tell me how it's pronounced. No? Maybe this one will? Oh dang, his name means sound the charge. Onkeladus. I think it's Onkeladus. Onkeladus. I believe that's right. So I think I was just saying it a little bit too quick, you know? Onkeladus. But it's Onkeladus. Onkeladus. Yeah, I know. What is this nonsense? Sound the charge? That's not what Uncle-itis means. I agree, May. I agree wholeheartedly. Oh, man. I feel good after that little reading session. I don't know about you guys. I feel good. I feel like what's the verdict on my hair? Is it getting too crazy? Is it getting too Jimmy Neutron-esque? You know, I feel like I'm not big brain enough to have hair like this. It is about 1:30 over here. I'm hoping to start tomorrow's stream a little bit earlier, at least a little earlier. Planning on getting things going more around like 7 or 8. Yeah, 7 or 8. That'll be good. Also, I find out whether or not I got the job tomorrow. So, everybody hold me in your prayers. Keep your fingers crossed and all that jazz. That it works out and that I actually get the job. Yeah, I don't know. I've been staying up the bad late recently. Like, normally I'm pretty okay if it's just 2 a.m. Like 2 a.m. is like the marker where I'm like, once I go to sleep past that time, I'm doing myself harm, you know? So I ought to get to bed earlier than that. It's good for me to get to bed earlier than that. But recently, I have not been doing that. A job? Whoa, good luck. Heck yeah, dude. I'm thinking it'll be good. However, I'll need to get my sleep schedule sorted out before the end of the week. That's the thing. I don't have to wake up, like, at all in the mornings. At least for this week. You know, starting next week, if I do get the job, though, I'll need to be waking up at, like, 6 a.m., I think. Good stuff. Good stuff. 6 a.m. like latest. So, I don't know. I think maybe like today or like tomorrow morning, I'm going to try to set an alarm. Purposefully deprive myself of like an hour or two of sleep so that I will feel tired by around like 10 or 11 tomorrow night, and I can slowly like bring down that bedtime hour, you know? That's like the plan. Whether or not the plan actually unfolds the way that I am picturing is another thing, but I will give it my best. And yeah, it is good to sleep. And honest to goodness, like, the times that I've felt best in my life, I was going to bed at like 10:30 and getting up at least 6 every morning. I don't know. I think my body just like, and just in general, like humans, like it works out better. Especially even like mentality wise. We go to bed at the sun setting, we wake up, or we go to bed shortly after the sun sets, and we wake up as the sun rises. It's good for the brain, the noggin. Yeah. Recently I've been the same way. Bleh. Alrighty, guys. Now that I know how to pronounce Onkelados, 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 Onkelados. That sounds right too. Onkelados. Sounds like ancient and guttural. Yeah. It's not too sad. I guess it's somewhat inconvenient. Especially when we do things, or when I do things that hinder my sleep, you know? That's when it becomes sad. Alright guys, hit me with that outro theme, please. I wanted to thank those of you guys that followed tonight. Fat Pig, Mal Dali, GCM. However, again, GCM, I'm specifically gonna pick on you. Don't come into a stream and have that be the first thing you say, please. Just in general. I don't know, maybe probably other streams are a-okay with that kind of stuff, but here, I'm not okay with that. I'm cool if it's like used for like a specific reason, you know? Like, and it makes sense contextually, and you actually swing it in a joke. But if it's just thrown out there randomly, please think first. Think first. But regardless of that, still thank you for the follow. It means a lot that you would think to follow me, and I hope to see you around in another stream. And thank you, Sweaters for Dorks, for the follow as well. Heck yeah, dang. About 4 followers. Oh, some good stuff. More folks to spread literature to, and to read to sleep. Oh yeah. Alright, hit me with that outro theme. Kapow. Thank you so much for being here, guys. This was a blast. I absolutely love reading to you guys, and you know that. but I want to say it again. I love reading aloud, and it's an excellent way of practicing my voice acting. And I feel grateful that I have this as an outlet where, you know, even if not a lot of things are going on in my life, I know I'll have this as a responsibility and something that I can be proud of, you know? So thank you all that are here and who support me, because of that reason. It's something that I can be proud of, and I hope you are proud of it too, or that you like it. Yeah. Alright, till next time, Wildflowers. We'll be back tomorrow, hopefully earlier, with chapters 18 and following. 16 and forward. Alright, much love. Until I return, keep on swaying, Wildflowers. Peace out. Good night, mate.